Hi. My blog on the LorraineGleeson.com website for February is about when people get stuck in situations and things that are out of your control. There are, the client I was talking about is a client, she's in a relationship for a couple of years, and the guy decided to suddenly finish it via a WhatsApp message, which was quite harsh after 2 years. And my client at this particular time, she just felt every other time, he'd done this many times, he was what you call a sulker, he'd cut her off, wouldn't answer the phone and everything else, and she'd wait a week or 2 weeks and she'd contact him and they'd get back together. But this particular instance, she'd had enough. She thought, I deserve someone who has enough respect not to finish with me via a message. And then she tried phoning and his usual behaviour. So how can hypnotherapy help with something like that? I remember the reason I actually became a hypnotherapist. So whenever I have people that have relationship problems, it always reminds me of why I became a hypnotherapist, because at the time, I'm going to tell you my little story now. I was in my 30s and I was in this dreadful relationship. I absolutely worshipped this guy, but it was just it was on off. And when it was off, I was so unhappy, and when it was on, I was happy. It was basically ruling the whole of my life. My business partner at the time, at the coffee shop, she said, I knew whether you were on or off with your boyfriend by your face the moment you walked through the door. That's how much it was affecting me. And someone said to me, why don't you see a hypnotherapist? What is a hypnotherapist going to do about this? And I was in such a bad space at the time that I would have done anything to have been happy. If you are unfortunate enough to be in these roller coaster relationships like I was back then and my client was recently, it's awful when another person's mood is controlling the whole of your life. You're really, really happy when you're being good, and you're really, really miserable when they've decided you're bad. I suppose that's why I can relate to it so much. I can relate to her story so much because it's horrible when you're stuck in this yo-yo situation. So how can hypnotherapy help with that? Well, amazingly enough, it actually helps to give you some self-worth. And I can remember, we're talking about 30 years ago now, I had 4 sessions of hypnotherapy, and the guy I had it over, I can remember, it was before mobile phones, and although there were mobile phones, but I think they were like brick size, but not everyone had them. But I was sat up in my bedroom upstairs, and my boyfriend at the time was on the phone yet again, because he used to cut me off as well, and that used to be awful. It's so frustrating. If you're ever in a relationship and the person just cuts you off and won't answer the phone, it is not pleasant. It really isn't, until they're ready to answer the phone. And in my partner's case at that time, 30 odd years ago, I always had to wait for him to call me, and sometimes it could be a week, 2 weeks, a month. It was awful. But I'd had these couple of sessions of hypnotherapy, and I always remember he phoned, and he's on that phone, and he's, the normally sorry and everything else, and things will change. And because of the hypnotherapy, I had some self-worth, and I said to the guy at the time, I said, look, this is what I want. He lived about he was in rented accommodation. He could have moved over this way. We'd been seeing each other about 9 years. I said, I want you to move over here, and I want a proper relationship. And this guy was going, oh, please don't do this to me. And I said, I'm not doing anything to you. I've told you what I want. And if you don't give me what you want, just say bye, Lorraine. And he said bye, Lorraine. And to my utter amazement, until this day, I can still feel, I was sat on my bed cross-legged, and he said bye, Lorraine, and I said bye, and I clicked the phone down. I can still hear that click now. And I absolutely surprised myself. No, I wasn't over the person, but what the hypnosis did was it gave me some self-worth. And with this client that came to me, with the guy that very similar to the guy all those years ago, would do exactly the same. They sulk, they cut you off, you can't get hold of them, and everything else. She just felt enough was enough. And basically with her, we didn't actually need to look at causes. The way I work, I use IMR, and we didn't need to look at causes. Her subconscious showed her. And I always remember she came up and I said, well, what was it you were thinking about? She said, well, my subconscious kept saying, you've got this. You've done it before and you're strong enough and you can walk away. And hypnosis, what it does, it helps you to have the inner strength and the inner confidence and to believe in yourself. We all deserve a loving, caring relationship. And when people, and I hate this word, but it is abuse. You know, if they cut you off and they won't answer the phone to you, it is a form of abuse. So if you are stuck in a situation and you keep following the same cycle and the same pattern, maybe, just maybe, hypnotherapy can help. And if it can, send me an email. You can go and read the blog on lorrainegleeson.com. And if you have enjoyed this little video, please subscribe to the channel below. Thank you.